Alright, welcome back to Cosmic Reach. This is my pre-alpha world, and I've done some changes since the last time I made a video in this world. I had a big time-lapse of me doing all these changes in a recent video that I uploaded called State of the Game, Cosmic Reach, where it was about a 22-minute video of me just talking about the game's direction and its potential, and just kind of the current state of everything. To explain some of those changes that I've made, I changed the construction block that was on top of these walls to lights, and if I change the lighting to night, you'll see that all the walls are lit up now. It gets rid of the red in between here, which is just a trade-off I had to make, but everything else is very nicely lit. And I wanted to do this because I just like the look of the two light rings and how everything looks very modern and just kind of technologically advanced with all the lighting around. And it gets rid of some of the red leaking out onto the snow and everything like that. So I like this better than what I had before. The next thing is that I continued building this gallery area. It kind of looks like a silo now if you look down below. Actually, if I change this to pitch dark, it's kind of terrifying. It looks like a bottomless pit. But if we go to space day, then you'll see that I stopped digging right there. With the tunnel going into it, I changed all of these to light bulbs as well, and it kind of connects up with the ring around the rosy up there. And I was thinking about adding lights to this leg because it's dark at night. You can't even see the 4 spider legs coming off the sides of the bottom ring of the observatory. But I'm not so sure about that because if I do that, then it will light up the construction columns there, and that whole red lighting system will be kind of useless, and then we won't get this really neat red streamer effect anymore, so I don't want to ruin that. So I think I'm going to keep these legs dark and just leave it at that. If we go back to space day, so this tunnel is complete. It's pretty basic. It just leads right to the pre-alpha gallery where I'm going to have a display of all the blocks, and on top I have a light ring, and that is to match the light rings around the base. And I have this vertical column of lights, which I might change. I might end up doing a spiral pattern like I did with the shaft of the observatory. I'm not really sure yet. And then I have my snow paths that are doing a plus shape, a plus formation. So you can walk on any one of these, and we'll have blocks on this quadrant, that quadrant, that quadrant, and that quadrant. And I'm thinking about having, instead of having multiple stories where you can walk up and down, I'm thinking maybe instead I'll just have the blocks kind of floating, and then you can just kind of look at them from the... In terms of depth here, we're currently at y equals roughly 28, and I'm thinking about using C4 to mine out the rest of this and just go all the way down to the void, and at nighttime and we're looking down, we can see all the stars poking up at us. So it'll legitimately be a bottomless pit. So that would be really cool, I think. And then maybe we can put some interesting lighting down there in spirals to kind of make the light shine up through the silo. I think that'd be really cool. But we'll see. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with this. I mean, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the blocks. I'm sure that I'm going to make the bottomless pit. And that's what I plan to do this episode, and then plus a couple other things. And you can see... I'm not sure if I'll put a roof on this because there's no roof on the main observatory base. I think it looks nice being open so you can look up and see the stars. I also took down the drone lighting. I'm not sure if I talked about this before. The reason I did that is because I just want to find a different solution for a lighting up here. I think I want to build it into the rings themselves instead of having floating lights. And the reason for that is because those floating lights aren't really adaptable for other areas of the base, and I want my lighting setups to kind of be similar. So I don't want to only have drone lighting up here and then no drone lighting anywhere else. And if I had drone lighting above the snow, for example, there would just be lighting everywhere. Like there'd be blocks everywhere and it would block your view of what's down below. And so, I don't know. I like the drone lighting a lot. I think it definitely has its place, and it looked good here, but I think I'll try to find something else for the time being that works well. And one thing I might have to do just to avoid getting rid of or accidentally removing the red streamer effect of these is that I could just double the length of them, double the length of the column, and then put the red lamp at the bottom. So these columns would be twice as long. You'd still get that red streamer effect. And right there, I don't know what's going on with that. We have a weird abandoned mine shaft that just kind of appeared. I didn't make that. I don't know if this is a new random generation feature for the game or what, but it looks like it's caved in, so I can't really go in there For some reason, I'm not able to break these blocks, so I think we're just going to leave that how it is. And I had another idea for what to do with the lighting on this snow. So if we change to dark night so we can at least see a little bit. Going back to that one previous video about the state of Cosmic Reach, state of the game Cosmic Reach that I released, in the thumbnail to that video, you can see a road that goes on into the space, into the darkness. And I made that just by placing snow in the air, and then I put lamps underneath the snow and the lighting wrapped around, and it looked phenomenal. And at first I tried that with the grass block, and it looked horrible. And I kind of want to demonstrate that to you now because I'm thinking about potentially using that effect in my world here. So if we were to create a little snow platform in the air here, you can see that the lighting really takes effect. It looks so nice, and the colors really shine through. Whereas if we do the same thing with grass blocks, or even some other blocks that's not as pure, then you can see that the light doesn't really shine through as much. And it looks kind of brown and muddy in some areas, especially if you use a different color of lighting. It turns pretty brown and just kind of ugly. And you can really see the difference there between the snow and then the grass. And the reason for that is because the grass has a green and brown color by default. So when the lighting wraps around and hits it, the color of the lighting is being combined with the already existing color of the dirt and the grass. And therefore it makes colors that you wouldn't really want. The red looks okay here, but the blue looks more green than it does blue. And then when you use other colors, it looks even worse. And so that's because the grass and the dirt already have, they're already colorful before you add the lighting, so they're just being combined with a color that you don't want. Whereas snow is pretty much pure white. It's got some blue in it, but that's okay, it doesn't have much. And so because it's pure white, you're getting pretty much almost 100% of the lighting block below it to reflect from the whites. So you can really see the lighting beneath it, whereas with the grass you can't really do that. And with other blocks that are naturally colored, you can't do that either. And so I'm thinking about using this effect. Instead of putting lampposts and things around the snow, I'm thinking about somehow putting light bulbs underneath the snow and having the light wrap around and shine up, so that this entire thing could be lit up in different colors. Maybe I'll just stick to a couple colors to fit the blue theme of the base, but maybe I'll just do a whole bunch of different colors so it'll look kind of like a dance floor. I don't know, I think that'd be pretty cool. Especially if you could hook up like a redstone system or some kind of, whatever the automatic electricity system is that'll be coming in this game in a future major update. I think that'd be awesome to have flashing lights around this entire place. For this episode, I'm going to C4 this entire silo all the way down to the stars, and then we'll see what happens from there. Okay, so I just did the first column of C4, and that was pretty freaking badass. So I think what I'm going to do next is, in the time-lapse, I'm just going to fill in the C4 as best I can, and hopefully they're all close enough together to do a chain reaction. And I'm going to go all the way through this entire area, and then I'll come back to the live gameplay once all the C4 is placed, and then I'm going to explode them all at the same time. Okay, I wanted to quickly take this minute of this time lapse to thank everybody who's been making custom music, fan music for this game. It's really come in handy for me. I've been able to play all kinds of tracks in the background and not have to worry about the copyright stuff, and not try to find something appropriate for the game, given that the vast majority of the fan music being made for this game does seem to follow what the theme will be for the game and what the theme currently is for the game. And I really, really appreciate it. A lot of it sounds great. Sometimes I just loop the same stuff over and over again in videos like this one because there isn't that much fan music, but there is a lot of good ones, and I don't think that looping a selection of them over and over is really such a big deal, because they all sound amazing, even on loop. So thank you to everybody, and I make sure to put your credits in the description of every video. Alright, here we are in the minefield of C4. I still haven't looked up what C4 actually is. I gotta do that, what it is in real life. I told someone in the comments I would do that. I haven't done it yet. I built a bunch of columns going right down to the void, and they're definitely not close enough to each other, and they're definitely not going to all go off in a chain reaction. And as you can see inside these columns, if I just break one of these, or break two of these I guess, they're not stacked up on every single block. And that is because I've seen people post on Discord blowing up massive amounts of C4 all at once, and it crashes their game. And for now, we're gonna have to probably manually go around and explode some of these, so let's start with this one. Oh my goodness, holy mother of fricker. Oh my god. Alright, well, that worked very well. Wow. I did a video on the explosion diameter, and I didn't think that they would actually all hit each other, but it looks like I did a pretty good job of placing all of them, and look at that! Look at that! The border of my wall here is almost completely still intact, and all of the blocks directly below them are almost completely blown up. So that was just about a perfect explosion. I didn't even plan it to be perfect. I thought that it would be messy and destroy some of my walls and make massive holes like in these walls that I didn't want, but wow, that was awesome. And there's just a few residual blocks I'm going to clean up here. Okay, the residual blocks are gone, and now I have columns going all the way down to the void for these metal slabs or metal blocks to be placed. And you can see I already did one column there. It's going to take me some time. It's going to be roughly 30 blocks times however many blocks there are on this perimeter. And I'm not using World Edit, obviously. Maybe in the future I'll try it, but for now everything is hand-built. Okay, so for this time-lapse, I want to talk about what the end goal for this world is. I don't honestly know. When I first created it, it was so that I could do testing and things inside the pre-alpha, and so that I didn't have to keep making new worlds every time I wanted to build something new, and then delete those worlds and potentially lose out on some history of what I've built. And it does seem to be fulfilling that purpose. In terms of the whole testing thing, not really, because still sometimes I test things on other worlds. But in terms of building, I guess I have learned a lot just from building all these structures and everything, and learning what could be, thinking about what could be good for the game and what could be bad for the game, what could help me and what wouldn't help so much in terms of building big structures and things like that. So I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna have this world. There's not gonna be much in it except the gallery and maybe a few other things. And then I'll start something new when survival mode comes around. Alright, it's over. It didn't take nearly as long as I thought it would, maybe like 20 to 25 minutes. And my right hand still feels strong. I think I got a lot of experience with placing so many blocks over and over and over again when I was building the rest of this sucker. And especially the snow area here, I think it took the longest. That was something like 40 minutes of laying snow blocks by hand, and my right wrist was just throbbing at the end. But here we go, it's done, and this is what the silo looks like. It goes all the way down to the stars. If we change the time of day to dark night, we get this, so we can still kind of see the sides of the silo. I'm not sure if you can on YouTube, but you can see the, let's see if we just walk and then look down. Yeah, you can see the stars poking out, really cool. And then if we change it to pitch dark, it's all darkness up here. And when you look down, oh, there's nothing, that's right, because pitch dark, there are no stars. So it's just a black void. I still think that I'm probably going to end up doing a spiral of white lights going up, but maybe I'll mix in other colors of lights down there so that we have different colors shining up the silo. Not really sure yet, I'll figure it out. And I'm definitely going to get rid of these, so let's just do that right now. Like I said, I only added those as like, I didn't know what I wanted to do at the time, because when I was making these ceiling lights, they kind of just ended here, so maybe I'll do that and just replace the door frame lights and then keep these ones right here. No matter where I place the lights now, it's not going to interfere with the hallway lights. Same thing on this side, I'm going to erase that one. Now I'm trying to think about what to do with this snow and the lighting. One thing I could do, so I can't just have holes in the snow with light blocks, because then I'll fall in the holes. And I really don't want that to happen. One thing I could do is wait until a new block is added that looks nicer than glass to just walk over the holes, but that's probably never going to happen. And why in the world would I wait for like potentially many months for something to happen? And another thing I could do, I could just put the lighting here and put glass on top of it. And that looks okay. It looks okay. It doesn't look great. I don't like having glass blocks in the middle of the snow, because then you can just see the lights underneath, and I don't know, seeing the bulbs, I don't really like the mesh with the snow. And the lighting doesn't go that far, as you can see. Let's actually change it to night. Well, it does go decently far, actually. But still, I don't think I want a bunch of bulbs showing. And so, or at least a bunch of bulbs showing underneath the snow with glass on top of it. I think it's a little bit messy. So maybe what I'll try to do is make some kind of lamp post. Not really sure how. Maybe something fancy, like a glass block, and then the lighting on top of that, just all around the place. This look kind of reminds me of something. Anyway, let's get rid of that. I'm not actually sure about that, because if I go and place those everywhere, it's kind of the same thing as this right here. Only instead it's going to be above ground instead of below ground. What do you think I should do with the lighting? I'd really like to have colored lighting on the snow, but I'm not sure how to do it. One thing I could also do is just continue to do what I was going to do, which is make paths and then little houses and stuff out here, and just have kind of natural lampposts where they would be next to the houses, or like inside the houses, and then the light would naturally shine outwards onto the snow. And maybe like lampposts across the, if I have walkways and roads and stuff in here, I could have little lampposts on the sides of the road. Alright, last time lapse here. I do have to talk over this one because there's some things I want to explain on screen. So right here, I'm building up the staircase, and it's going to be laid out the same way that the staircase is laid out in the shaft of the observatory. I'm not super happy with it because it's really janky and diagonal, and I don't know, it's just, you can fall off easy. So eventually I'll probably change these staircases, even the one in the shaft of the observatory, once I find out a better design for them. But they're fine for now. And then the second thing on screen here is I'm building the lighting all the way up, and there's a weird bug I keep running into where sometimes I try to break lighting, or just break blocks around custom lighting, and my graphics drivers completely crash. I'm using AMD. And then my game crashes and everything crashes, and I have to reload, I have to restart my computer. So that's pretty damn annoying. And maybe I'll file an official bug report on the Discord or on the GitHub with all my specs and everything of my machine. I think I should really do that. That'll probably help. But yeah, I hope that gets fixed eventually, because when that happens, my recording dies, and I lose whatever progress isn't saved in the game. So it seems like progress saves in the game whenever you hit escape to pause the game. And if I haven't done that in a while, I just lose all the progress. So I hope that's fixed in the future. It's not a huge deal. I can still get along with it. I just have to keep remembering to hit the escape button occasionally. Alright, we did it. This is it. So I decided at the last minute that I did want to try to do the lighting in here and come up with a little pattern. And at first, what I was doing was I was following the light pattern underneath the stairs, as I did with the observatory tower. But then I decided that that's not the best way to do it anymore. That worked over there because the lighting was always fit exactly one block beneath the cobblestone stairs. But in here it didn't work that way because the slabs weren't perfectly aligned with the top of the blocks, and it's a little bit difficult to explain. But basically it didn't work out super well that way, and there wasn't really enough lighting if I just did one block underneath the stairs for this entire silo. So what I ended up doing is I started at the very bottom and I used every light color, and for these flat walls on all the four sides of the silo, I used the same light. We're kind of split up into eighths here. So we've got one, and then the second one is, if you look at this corner of the silo here, half of it is a color, the next half is a color, and then it kind of repeats that with different colors. So you have three different sections. You have the flat wall, you have the first part of the corner, you have the second part of the corner, then you have a flat wall, and then you have the first part of the corner, and so on. And it goes all the way up. This way we get much more room for lighting. We can do more light bulbs, and there's some shadows going on, which I think is pretty cool. I also exchanged the floor for glass. This way you can see the lighting and the stars, and there's nothing that's hidden from your view. And then I didn't make a strip of lighting here because it would interfere with the doorway, and I didn't make a strip of lighting here because it would interfere with, if this has a doorway right here, it would interfere with that doorway. This one's not affected, and this one is not affected. It's just about affected, but not quite, because if there was a doorway, it would be right here, which is enough under the orange lights that it doesn't affect it. So I just really love this build. I think there are probably more interesting ways that I could lay out the lighting, but I'm really liking how it is now. I may put lighting on the walkway itself, but I don't think it's necessary. I think this is good enough. If we change it to something else, like Earth Bay, it still looks really good, and we don't have to worry about the lighting on the bridges here. So very, very cool. I like this silo a lot. I think it's going to make for a very good pre-alpha gallery. And then one thing I forgot to mention is I have the stairs, which go up in the same pattern as they do with the observatory shaft. There's just 2 blocks for each part, so I'm kind of making a makeshift stair. You see a half slab, and then you see a full block, and then a half slab and a full block, and it goes around all the way up to the very top of the silo. And as you can see at the top, we just have a lookout area. I'll probably expand this to be 3 blocks wide, similar to the rings, so that you can actually walk without falling off. And yeah, it ends right here because you need space to walk up the stairs. And that's it. Thank you for watching.